Hello, my dear friends. Today, I want to share with you the story of a man whose mind touched everything: art, science, engineering, and imagination. A man who saw the world not only as it was, but as it could be. His name was Leonardo da Vinci, the man of many dreams. He painted the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. He designed flying machines long before airplanes existed. He studied the human body, water, and the stars. He left behind thousands of pages filled with sketches, notes, and ideas that still amaze the world today. But Leonardo was not born a genius. He became one through curiosity, discipline, and observation. He believed that everything was connected: nature, art, and science. In this story, we will walk through his extraordinary life, from a small boy in Italy to one of the greatest minds in human history. We'll explore not only what he created, but how he thought. Because the true secret of his genius is not just talent, it is the way he looked at life. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1: A Curious Beginning. Leonardo da Vinci was born on April 15, 1452, in a small village called Vinci, near Florence, Italy. His father, Ser Piero da Vinci, was a notary, an educated man who prepared legal documents. His mother, Caterina, was a simple countrywoman. Leonardo was born out of wedlock, which meant he could not go to the best schools or inherit his father's wealth. But he had something far more valuable: curiosity. As a child, Leonardo loved the world around him. He watched the shapes of clouds, the movement of water, the way birds flew. He collected leaves, studied insects, and drew what he saw. He once wrote, "The smallest detail is a window into the universe." His curiosity was endless. He didn't just look, he observed. He asked questions about everything. Why is the sky blue? How does the heart work? Why do birds fly? One story says that when he was little, a bird landed on his cradle, and he felt a strong wish to understand how it moved its wings. That small moment may have started his lifelong dream: to make humans fly. Leonardo had little formal education. He learned to read, write, and do basic math. But his real school was nature. He believed that learning never exhausts the mind. He carried that belief his entire life. When he was about 14, his father noticed his talent for drawing and took him to Florence, the heart of art and invention during the Renaissance. There, young Leonardo's life was about to change forever. Chapter 2: The Young Apprentice. In Florence, Leonardo entered the workshop of Andrea del Verrocchio, one of the city's greatest artists. Verrocchio taught painting, sculpture, metalwork, and design. His studio was full of creativity: artists, engineers, and dreamers all working side by side. For Leonardo, it was paradise. He learned how to mix colors, prepare canvases, and sculpt with clay. He also learned geometry, perspective, and how light and shadow create depth. Leonardo was not just learning, he was absorbing everything. He wanted to understand how things worked, how horses moved, how water flowed, how the human body balanced. One day, Verrocchio was painting a scene called The Baptism of Christ and asked Leonardo to paint one of the angels. When the painting was finished, people were amazed by Leonardo's angel. It looked more alive, more gentle, more real. According to legend, Verrocchio saw it and said, "I will never paint again, for my student has surpassed me." That was Leonardo's first masterpiece, but he didn't stop there. He began to fill his notebooks with sketches, machines, bridges, human faces, and inventions. He wrote everything he saw and thought. He even wrote backward, from right to left. so others couldn't easily read his private ideas. His notebooks became a mirror of his mind, full of questions and experiments. He wasn't satisfied just making things beautiful. He wanted to understand how everything worked. That was the beginning of his genius. Chapter 3: Art and Observation. Leonardo soon became known as a young man with extraordinary talent. He painted with patience, layer by layer, studying every detail. He could spend hours observing a smile or the shadow under an eye. He said, "The painter has the universe in his mind and hands." For him, painting was not just art, it was science. He studied anatomy to understand muscles and bones. He studied light to see how it changed colors. He even went to hospitals to draw the inside of the human body. People thought it was strange, but Leonardo wanted truth, not just beauty. He said, "To understand painting, one must understand life itself." He began to use new techniques, sfumato, blending colors softly to make faces look alive, like in Mona Lisa. Chiaroscuro, using light and dark to create depth and emotion. Every line, every shadow was part of his search for truth. But Leonardo's mind was not satisfied with art alone. He was also fascinated by machines and inventions. He built models of gears, pulleys, and flying wings. He dreamed of machines that could move like animals or birds. To him, art and science were the same thing, both ways of exploring the mystery of life. When people asked him why he studied so many things, he said, "Everything connects to everything else." That sentence became one of the deepest secrets of his genius. Chapter 4: The Flying Dream. Leonardo often went to the hills around Florence and watched birds. He studied their wings, their speed, and how they moved with the wind. He drew hundreds of sketches of birds gliding, diving, and landing. He wanted to know, could humans fly too? In his notebook, he wrote, "Once you have tasted flight, you will walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward." He designed many flying machines, gliders, wings powered by pedals, and a strange helicopter-like spiral. Most of them were never built, but the drawings showed a mind far ahead of his time. He believed flight was not magic, it was physics. If birds could fly, humans could too, if they understood nature's rules. He also studied air pressure, lift, and wind direction, ideas that would become the foundation of aviation hundreds of years later. To Leonardo, flight was more than an invention. It was a symbol, the desire of the human spirit to rise above limits. He once said, "Human subtlety will never devise an invention more beautiful, nor more simple, nor more to the purpose than nature." That's how he saw everything, not as a man trying to conquer nature, but as a student trying to learn from it. Chapter 5: The Last Supper. In 1495, Leonardo was living in Milan under the patronage of Duke Ludovico Sforza. The Duke admired his art and his mind. He asked Leonardo to paint a large mural on the wall of a monastery dining hall. That painting became The Last Supper, one of the most famous artworks in history. Leonardo did not paint it in a rush. He studied every expression, every gesture, every detail. He wanted the scene to feel alive, as if the viewers were sitting at the table with Jesus and his disciples. He chose the moment when Jesus says, "One of you will betray me." The disciples react with shock, fear, and confusion. Each face tells a different story. Leonardo did not simply paint people, he painted emotion. He spent years observing human behavior, how anger shows in the eyes, how sadness softens the mouth. He believed a painting should speak without words. The work was so real that people felt as if they were inside the moment. He experimented with new materials instead of traditional fresco. Sadly, those materials did not last, and the painting began to fade after a few decades. Yet the power of its composition still moves millions today. Through this masterpiece, Leonardo showed that true art is not only seen, it is felt. Chapter 6: The Mona Lisa and the Mystery of a Smile. After many years in Milan, Leonardo returned to Florence. There he began a painting that would become the most famous in the world, the Mona Lisa. The portrait shows a woman with a gentle smile and calm eyes. Nobody knows exactly who she was, but her face has become a symbol of mystery and beauty. Leonardo worked on it for years. He carried it with him everywhere, adding tiny touches even near the end of his life. He used a special technique called sfumato, soft shading that blends colors so smoothly you can't see where they meet. It makes her face look alive, her smile changing as you move your eyes. People still ask, why is she smiling? Some say it's because of peace, others say sadness, some say love. Perhaps the answer is simple. Leonardo wanted to show that a human soul is never one emotion. It is many at once. He believed a smile could carry a whole universe of feeling. Behind the painting, there is also a landscape, mountains, rivers, and mist. It represents the connection between humans and nature. To Leonardo, the earth was alive, and we were a part of it. That's why Mona Lisa is not just a portrait, it's a philosophy in paint. Chapter 7: Inventions, Ideas, and Dreams. Leonardo da Vinci was not only a painter, he was an engineer, architect, musician, and scientist. He designed machines that were centuries ahead of his time. Flying machines, tanks, bridges, hydraulic systems, even a robot knight that could move its arms and head. He wrote down everything in his notebooks. Over 13,000 pages of drawings and ideas. In those pages, you can see his mind at work. Sketches of birds next to drawings of engines, studies of human bones beside maps of rivers. He saw no boundaries between art and science. He said, "Study the science of art. Study the art of science." He was a man of observation. He would sit for hours watching the way water swirled or how flames moved. He believed nature was the best teacher. Leonardo's mind was like a galaxy, full of stars of ideas, but not all of his inventions were built during his life. Some seemed too strange for his time. He didn't mind. He said, "I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do." He lived by curiosity and creation. Every new project was an adventure, sometimes unfinished, but always filled with wonder. Chapter 8: His Final Years and Legacy. In his later years, Leonardo moved to France at the invitation of King Francis I. The king admired him deeply and gave him a beautiful house called Clos Lucé, near the royal castle of Amboise. There, Leonardo continued to work, draw, and teach, even as his body grew weak. He took with him his favorite paintings, including Mona Lisa, and spent his last years revising them. He was not married and had no children, but his students and assistants became his family. They loved him for his kindness and gentle humor. He died peacefully on May 2nd, 1519, at the age of 67, with King Francis said to be by his side. The king later said, "There has never been another man born in the world who knew as much as Leonardo." After his death, his notebooks were scattered around Europe. Centuries later, scientists and artists found them and were astonished by his ideas, many of which became real in the modern age. Airplanes, helicopters, bridges, robots. All these had roots in Leonardo's dreams. But his greatest gift to humanity was not his paintings or machines. It was his way of thinking. He taught us to look closely, to connect everything, to wonder at the smallest detail. He taught us that true genius is not about knowing everything. It is about never stopping to learn. So, what is the real secret of Leonardo da Vinci's genius? It is not just talent. It is not luck. It is his way of seeing the world. He observed deeply. He asked questions that no one else dared to ask. He combined art and science, logic and imagination. He never stopped learning. Leonardo once wrote, "Learning never exhausts the mind." That is his gift to all of us, the belief that curiosity has no end. His life teaches us that you can be both a dreamer and a thinker, a scientist and an artist. You don't need to choose. You can be everything you wish to be. Leonardo da Vinci's story reminds us, observe life deeply, ask questions boldly, work with passion, stay curious forever. That is the true secret of genius.